Hey everyone and welcome. Bet you use them every day. I do. Talking to our phones or smart speakers, voice user interfaces or VUIs, they're everywhere.
They really are.
But honestly, most of us probably don't think much about the tech that makes that seemingly simple conversation happen. We're taking a deep dive into the world of VUIs today.
It really is more fascinating than people realize.
It is. So are you ready to get your mind blown a little?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with this. What seems like magic to most of us when we talk to our devices?
It's actually built on decades of research and innovation, and tons of people working on it for a long time. It might surprise you to know that early work on voice interaction with computers, like really early stuff, goes all the way back to the 1970s.
The 70s? Really? Wow. Disco and VUIs. Who knew?
It's true. One of the earliest examples is this system called Medio, developed at the University of Montreal. Now, it was designed for a very specific task, this Medio system, which makes sense if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, they did technology back then.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Limited computing power, all that. So this Medio system, it was translating weather reports between English and French.
Okay, that's pretty wild. But focusing on just that one very specific area makes sense, especially back then.
Exactly. It's a really important concept that's been key to the whole field, focusing on specific domains. And that concept has really driven how VUI technology has advanced throughout its history.
So true.
And of course, fast forward to today, VUIs are doing so much more than just translating weather reports. Way more.
It's true. It's amazing how they've become almost like an extension of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. We're using VUIs to ask questions, to control our homes, even just to listen to music. It's incredible.
It is. You're really hitting on the major categories of how we use VUIs today. Asking questions is probably the most familiar one.
Right.
Like, it's how we get information, set reminders, manage our daily tasks, all that. Then there's media selection. This is huge. I mean, think about it. VUIs help us navigate these massive libraries of music and podcasts and audiobooks. It's really changed the way we interact with all that stuff.
Oh man, media selection. Don't even get me started on those late-night music requests to my smart speaker. You know, when you're like, play something chill, and it leads to some, well, let's just say interesting results.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's all part of the fun.
Oh, yeah, totally. But the point is, good VUI design has to be super tailored to whatever specific task it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Because we use them for so many different things, and some of them are really life-changing for people.
Right.
Like for folks with disabilities, for example, dictation. I mean, it's an absolute game changer. It opens up so much possibilities for communication, creativity. It's amazing.
Totally. And of course, we can't forget about smart home control.
Oh, right.
I mean, now you can use your voice to manage lights, appliances, even your whole security system.
It's crazy how far it's come.
I know. So we've gone from translating weather reports in the 70s to writing novels and controlling our homes with our voices.
It's a lot of progress.
VUIs have come a long way. But what about the cutting edge? What's next? What's blowing your mind in the VUI world these days?
Well, it's really interesting, actually. What's considered state-of-the-art in VUIs today. It's often tied to all the crazy advancements happening in other fields, like computer vision and natural language processing.
Yeah, those are getting so good. So we're talking about artificial intelligence getting much smarter overall then. Not just, better at understanding what we're saying.
You got it. It's all connected. So imagine, like, a VUI. That can not only understand the words you're saying, but can also recognize gestures, like facial expressions, even subtle body language. That's where it's headed.
Hold on a second. Are you saying VUIs will be able to read our emotions? That sounds like something straight out of a science fiction movie.
It does, doesn't it? It's wild. And, I mean, true emotional understanding, like a VUI really getting what we're feeling, it's still a big research challenge, but being able to pick up on those nonverbal cues, that's a huge step towards making VUIs feel more natural and more intuitive to interact with.
Yeah, it's like they're becoming more human.
In a way, yeah. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, we've talked about VUIs in smart homes, but they're showing up in some pretty unexpected places, too.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm all ears. Where else are we seeing these voice-controlled wonders?
Get this. VUIs are even being used in robotic surgery. Yeah, it's pretty cutting-edge stuff.
Robotic surgery. Okay, now that is a little bit freaky.
Yeah.
Am I picturing, like, a robot surgeon taking orders from some disembodied voice?
No, it's not quite that dramatic. Think of it more as a tool for the surgeons. Gives them better precision and control. So the surgeon will use voice commands, right? To, like, manipulate the robotic arms during super delicate procedures. It's really amazing, actually.
Okay, that does make me feel a little bit better. But it's still pretty incredible to think about, just how many ways this technology can be used.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we're just getting started. I mean, it's only going to get more diverse. But like anything, any powerful technology, there are definitely challenges and limitations to figure out.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. It's amazing how sophisticated VUIs are becoming. But it does raise some concerns too, right?
For sure. And one of the biggest ones is privacy. I mean, think about it. Always on devices that can hear what we're doing and potentially even see. It's all happening in our homes, too. And that brings up some pretty big questions about data security.
Ugh, tell me about it. How much are these devices really listening to, It's kind of creepy. I was actually having this conversation with a friend, right, about a very specific kind of tea I like. And guess what popped up in my online ads later that day?
No way. The tea.
You guessed it. That exact tea. It's like, come on. It's a little creepy.
I totally get it. That's why trust and transparency are so important. Like, if companies want more people to use VUIs, they have to be upfront about how they're using our data.
Yeah.
And they have to give users control over their privacy settings. It's the only way to build that trust and get people to feel okay about using this technology more and more.
Yeah. So it's not just about, like, building a cool gadget then. It's about actually building a relationship with the user, a relationship based on trust and respect.
That's a really good point. But okay, let's shift gears a little bit here. What about the future? What trends or developments are you most excited about in the world of VUIs?
Well, honestly, I think we're just scratching the surface of what's possible. Like, imagine a world where VUIs are so smart, they can, like, anticipate our needs before we even have to ask.
Whoa.
Right? They could be reminding us to, like, pick up groceries on our way home, schedule appointments for us based on our calendars, even adjust the temperature in our homes, based on what they know we like. Whoa, that's amazing. That sounds almost like magic. But I guess that's what technology is for, right? To make our lives easier and more seamless.
Exactly.
But I wonder, though, if we get to the point where we're so reliant on VUIs to do everything for us, will we actually lose some of our own abilities?
It's a good question.
Like, if I never have to actually remember anything, right? Because my VUI is always there to remind me.
Yeah.
What happens to my memory? What happens to all of us?
That's a really valid concern. It's important to strike a balance, for sure. We want VUIs to enhance our lives, not, like, take over completely.
Right.
So the key is to use them as tools, to actually complement our own human skills, not to replace them entirely.
It's like anything else. Moderation is key.
It really is.
But on a more positive note, I'm really excited about how VUIs can improve accessibility.
Yeah.
Like, imagine how much easier life could be for people with disabilities if they could control their environment with just their voice or communicate more easily.
You're absolutely right. That's one of the areas in VUI development that I'm most excited about. We're already seeing some amazing things with assistive technologies. And I think it's just the beginning.
It is.
It's going to be really interesting to see where it goes.
Well, this has been an incredible conversation. I feel like I've learned so much about VUIs from, the early days of just translating weather reports to all this mind-blowing potential for the future. What a journey.
It really has been a journey, hasn't it? It's been my pleasure, honestly, sharing all this with you and with everyone listening. I have to say, it's a really exciting time to be working in this field. I can't wait to see what the future holds for VUIs.
Me neither. And to all of you listening out there, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into VUIs. I hope you found it as fascinating as we did. Until next time, keep those conversations flowing, whether you're talking to a human or a machine.
It's really fascinating to think about how VUIs are changing the way we interact with technology, like blurring the lines between humans and machines. It's pretty wild. We've talked about some of the technical challenges, but there's another big aspect we haven't really touched on yet. Trust.
Trust. That's an interesting angle. I mean, I trust my GPS to get me where I'm going, but trusting a VUI to, help with surgery, that's a whole other level.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just about trusting the technology itself to work, right? It's also about trusting the people behind it. Who's collecting our data? What are they doing with it? These are big questions that we have to be asking.
Absolutely. I think that's a big part of why some people are still hesitant about VUIs, that whole Big Brother thing. And honestly, with all the stories we hear about data breaches and all that, it's understandable.
Oh, for sure. It's a valid concern. And that's why transparency from these companies is so important. If they're developing VUIs, they need to be upfront about how they're handling our data. and give users control over their privacy settings. I mean, it's really the only way to build that trust, right?
Mm.
And encourage more people to start using this technology because it does have so much potential.
Right. It's not just about building the coolest gadget.
Right.
It's about building a relationship with the user based on trust and respect, which honestly is how it should be with any technology. But okay, let's shift gears for a minute here. Let's talk about the future. What trends or developments in the VUI world are you most excited about?
Hmm. That's a good question. Well, I think we're only just starting to see what's possible. Like, imagine a world where VUIs are so advanced they can anticipate what we need before we even have to ask.
Well, really?
Yeah. Think about it. They could remind us to, like, grab some milk on the way home from work or schedule appointments based on our calendars, even adjust the thermostat, because they've learned what temperature we like. That kind of stuff. It's coming.
Wow. That's pretty mind-blowing. But I guess that's the point of technology, right? To make our lives a little easier, a little more seamless. But I do have to wonder, what if we become too reliant on these VUIs to do everything for us? Do we lose some of our own abilities?
That's a good point.
Like, what if I never have to remember anything anymore?
Yeah.
Because my VUI is always there to remind me. Does that make me,
Mm.
I don't know, less capable? What do you think?
It's a valid concern. I think it's all about finding the right balance. We want VUIs to enhance our lives, not take over completely. So the key is to use them as tools, right? To complement our own human skills and abilities, not replace them entirely.
So it's like anything else then. Moderation is key.
Exactly. It really is.
But hey, on a more positive note, I'm really excited about the potential for VUIs to make things more accessible for people, like for people with disabilities. Imagine how much easier life could be, if they could control things in their homes just by using their voice, or if it made communication easier. It's pretty amazing to think about.
Absolutely. It's definitely one of the most exciting areas of VUI development, and I'm really excited to see what happens in the future.
Me too. Well, this has been an incredible conversation. I feel like I've learned so much about VUIs today, from their humble beginnings translating weather reports to all this mind-blowing potential. What a journey.
It really has been a journey, and it's been my pleasure sharing all this with you and with our listeners. It's a really exciting time to be involved in this field, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Me neither. And to everyone listening out there, thanks for joining us today on our deep dive into the world of VUIs. We hope you learned something new. And who knows, maybe we even spark some ideas for how you might want to use your voice to interact with the world around you. Until next time.